Welcome back. Well, for the markets, it's definitely weak at this point in time. So we do have the Nifty, which is down around 126 odd points. The Sensex is also shed over 460 odd points. However, underneath the surface, there are a lot of stocks which are still making fresh 52-week highs. So stocks, and these are across sectors. For example, we have Apollo Tyres from the entire tire space, which is managing to make a fresh 52-week high. Along with it is MRF as well. Dr. Reddy's is doing well. It's sitting at a fresh 52-week high. Chola Finance is in focus post numbers. Siemens, TVS Motors, all of these stocks which are in focus on account of hitting fresh highs in the past 1 year. But let's move on to some more reactions to the fourth quarter numbers. TVS Motors and CEAT are gaining in trade after they reported what was a good set of Q4 numbers. Sonia, tell us more. What does the street like about them?
So, for TVS Motor now, it has been a couple of quarters of very strong performance, and this time was no different. The margins have come in at a record high, and this despite weakness in the export market, despite the, the expansion of the electric vehicle space, and that's what the street likes. Over 10% margins for 6 straight quarters now, record high of 10.3%. UBS has a buy. They've raised their target price to 1430 on TVS Motor. They say that a sequential margin progression despite an EV ramp up is quite commendable. And the other stock we're looking at is CEAT. Very strong margin performance there as well. The margins are up 550 basis points year on year at 13.1%. That's largely because the raw material basket has corrected. Demand has also picked up, so over 10% growth in demand. And I think that the street would definitely like the improvement in the balance sheet. So the debt has fallen for CEAT, down about 10.5% quarter on quarter. But Aditya Welekar, who's a senior research analyst, metals, minings and autos at Axis Securities, joins us on the phone line. Aditya, thanks for joining in. It's very interesting that both TVS and Hero have reported numbers that were better than estimated. But if you map the trajectory of TVS versus Hero, there's a stark degree of outperformance that TVS has seen, both in market share, in earnings, as well as in stock price. What do you see as the way forward for both these names?
Yeah, definitely. So TVS is outperforming for sure. So as you just said, its electric vehicle portfolio is doing well. And what gives us slight confidence is that despite they have ramped up their electric vehicle, the margins they have clocked is double-digit margins. And going ahead, as the scale of the EV production increases, there is a scope for margins to further improve from this level. So with the operating leverage kicking in and with the supply chains for the EV materials falling in line, and they are also planning to export, open avenues for their export market. So these factors are positive for TVS, and street has liked that.
Okay, so street is like that. Got it. On a valuation parameter, how do both these stocks stack up, TVS and Hero? Do you think that because, I was just going through the data. Hero, if you look at it in the last 3 years, the Hero Motors stock has done nothing for investors. It's up about 0.2x. TVS in the last 3 years has gone up 3.5 times. So is there more valuation headroom for a stock like Hero MotoCorp compared to TVS?
Yeah, so if you see from valuation perspective, yes, means market has already rewarded TVS to a large extent. So valuation comfort is slightly skewed. The risk reward is not very favorable for TVS as right now. So from a valuation perspective, Hero MotoCorp is trading at a slightly lower valuations, but the fundamentals are still not very encouraging because the market shares have fallen year on year for Hero MotoCorp from 34% to 32% for domestic two-wheelers. And their rural entry-level vehicles outlook is also we will have a management call in some time, so we will get further clarity on how they comment on the rural demand. But as of now, the rural sentiments are not picking up. So that's why market is not rewarding Hero MotoCorp.
Right now, irrespective of what and where these vehicles sell or whether electric vehicles sell or not, every vehicle will need tires. Tire stocks are doing extremely well, Aditya, and they have a tailwind of lower crude as well. Do you like any of the listed entities? What would your pecking order there be? Aditya?
Okay.
think
Okay.
we've snapped that line.
Well, we'll try and connect back to Aditya, but there's definitely a divergence in terms of performance which has taken place within the auto space, Sonia. We've spoken about TVS Motors as well as Hero, but there have been trends which have been emerging for Bajaj Auto as well as Maruti, correct? And interestingly, we had I think we have Aditya back, so maybe I'll just pose this question to him. Aditya, you know, we had Sonal Verma of Nomura talk about the auto sales earlier this morning, and she indicated that while the wholesales were positive, there's some kind of chink in the armor which is emerging when it comes to retail sales. There is some inventory build-up which is taking place at dealers as well. So as we go along in FY24, what is the estimate when you are talking about auto sales? Do you expect it to slow down vis-a-vis what we saw in FY23?
So if we talk about the two-wheeler, that is TVS Motors and Bajaj Auto, so they have consistently commented through the last two conference call that they have managed their wholesale numbers with retails. So with the declining export demand, they have not increased their dispatches to the export market. So with that kind of supply discipline they have maintained. So once the demand picks up with the economic activity picking up in future quarters, then they have a headroom and buffer so that they will increase the dispatches in line with the retail demand. So that's the kind of inventory management these companies are doing.
Right, and before we lost that connection, Aditya, I was asking about the tire space. They have a tailwind of lower crude, and if the auto sector has to grow, then tires will obviously grow. Do you like any of these listed players? What would your pecking order there be?
So tire stocks we don't have under coverage, so I'll not be able to comment on specific names here.
Any thoughts on Bharat Forge? The numbers come out in a while from now and expected to be a decent showing. Do you track that one?
No, not.
Okay. All right. We leave it at that, Aditya. Thanks a lot for joining in. Appreciate your thoughts. Let's